Welcome back, Stephen.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, everyone. We are at 11 a.m. and I see that we have Stephen back. Stephen, that weather must be pretty bad. I know the skies are really bad where I am, so we were concerned about that weather.
Or just my internet in general, but I appreciate that you all waited around for me, and I apologize for the delay.
No apologies. No apologies needed. We completely understand. And so I believe we're right at 11 o'clock. Our chair really wanted to be present, but again, he has some emergencies and hopefully he will be able to join us. But if not, we are going to just proceed where we left off. And so, so we are going to now move into getting the final tally votes from Stephen and his category. And Stephen, the way we did it was we did each category of where the proposals were sent, and we said each proposal's name, and then each section, the total in each section, A, B, C, and then the total. Okay. And then we were at the end, we were going to go back and in that column I determine if we're recommending the contract or not. So right now we're just going to be asking you for your total in each area. Okay.
Okay.
So you can start right on with your video visuals in section A if you would like.
So for video and visuals, I have Beyond Accommodations.
Yeah.
Part section A 44, part B 15, part C 15. I have Lighthouse.
One second. It looks like Courtney's still trying to type.
Hold on, just one moment. I'm so
sorry. It's okay. Take it.
Stephen, can you say those again for me, please? Thank you.
Beyond Accommodations, Part A 44, Part B 15, Part C 15.
You can keep going.
Okay. O'Neill Communications, A 44, B 14, C 14. Lighthouse, A 44, B 14, C 14. Quillo, A 44, B 14, C 14. And Team Dynamics, A 44, B 15, C 15. You ready for the next one?
Yes, sir.
I am jumping to, on my page, it's employment seminars. Ready for that?
Yes, sir.
Beyond accommodations, A 44, B 15, C 15. Caring strategies, A 44, B 14, C 14. Lighthouse, A 44, B 15, C 15. O'Neill Communications, A 43, B 14, C 14. Emergency Preparedness, Trach Mamas of Louisiana, A 45, B 15, C 15. Niagara University, A 43, B 13, C 14. Supported decision making, ARC of Louisiana, A 45, B 15, C 15. First responders training, beyond accommodations, A 44, B 15, C 15. Interaction advisory group, A 45, B 15, C 15. Niagara University, A 42, B 13, C 14. Quiet Calm, A 44, B 15, C 15. Sexual Abuse and Exploitation Beyond Accommodations 1, A 44, B 15, C 15. Beyond Accommodations 2, A 44, B 14, C 15. Team Dynamics, A 45, B 15, C 15. Disaster Response Coordination, Trach Mamas of Louisiana, A 45, B 15, C 15. Emergency Response Resources, Trach Mamas of Louisiana, A 45, B 15, C 15. Am I missing anything else?
All right, just give me a few moments to update the spreadsheet and then I will share it once I have all of the tallies.
There's a comment in the chat box.
We will not address that until we are at the end. Thanks, Stephen.
All right, can everyone still see the tallies?
Courtney, are you finished with your tallying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have every single score for every category from every executive committee member?
Not from Randall Brown.
So you have everything from myself, Stephen, Mary, and Mike
Correct.
for every category.
Correct.
All right. All right, so we have the final scores for each category in front of us. And so now what we need to do is make the recommendations for the proposals that had the highest total. Once we make those recommendations, we will then move into having some dialogue on how to move forward. With that being said, Courtney, if you would like to read out the totals, or if you want me to, I don't have a problem with doing it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out all of the totals for each proposal, and then I would go down to the top 3. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Courtney.
So if you want to go ahead and read the totals and then start with the recommendations.
Yes. So I'll read the totals. Beyond under video and visual materials, Beyond Accommodations scored 262. Lighthouse scored 270. O'Neill Communications scored 283. Quillo scored 278. Team Dynamics scored 262. The highest score in video and visual materials was O'Neill Communications. For first responder training, Beyond Accommodations scored 262. Interaction Advisory Group scored 291. Niagara University scored 269. Quiet Calm scored 253. The highest score in first responder training is Interaction Advisory Group. Employment seminars, Beyond Accommodations scored 267. Caring Strategies scored 244. Lighthouse scored 276. O'Neill Communications scored 291. Under sexual abuse and relationship, exploitation and relationship training, Beyond Accommodations 1 scored 262. Beyond Accommodations 2 scored 254. Team Dynamics scored 290. Under emergency preparedness training, Niagara University scored 292. Trach Mamas of Louisiana scored 277. Under disaster response coordination, Trach Mamas of Louisiana scored 299. Under emergency response resources, Trach Mamas of Louisiana scored 299. Under supported decision-making training, ARC of Louisiana scored 298. Executive committee members, these are the proposals that have scored the highest. At this point, recommendations will be made from each committee member as it relates to who should be considered for the proposal. I'm recommending O'Neill Communications be recommended for the video and visual materials without any conditions. Mike,
I recommend the same.
Mary,
Same.
Stephen.
Same.
For first responder training, I recommend Interaction Advisory Group without any conditions. Mike,
Same.
Mary,
Same.
Stephen.
Same.
Under employment seminars, Hyacinth McKee recommend O'Neill Communications without conditions. Mike,
I recommend the same.
Mary, I think Mary's got, can you hear us, Mary?
Yeah, sorry, I was just making sure I didn't have anything written by them. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. All right. Are you recommending without conditions?
Yes.
Thank you. Stephen?
Same.
Thank you. Under sexual abuse and exploitation and relationship training, Hyacinth McKee recommend team dynamics without any conditions. Mike,
Same.
Mary,
Give me a second to check my notes.
sure. Stephen,
Same.
so we will let Mary check her notes on that section.
Was this was the one that we just had the comment about right before we gave our scores, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And also this was one that was only, let's see the other one. Yeah, the only regions that were wait, which one did you recommend? I'm sorry.
Okay, so for sexual abuse and exploitation and relationship training, we have made our individual recommendations without conditions. I made a recommendation without condition for team dynamics. Mike made a recommendation without condition for team dynamics, and Stephen made a recommendation without condition for team dynamics in this category.
Okay, do we need to have some recommendations about verifying the information that Courtney had gotten right before we gave our information today? About them using something else that they may not be using this same training since it wasn't their original stuff?
Courtney, do you want to expound upon the information that you shared to bring clarity to the committee on that?
Sure. We were notified that Team Dynamics had used some PowerPoint slides in their training that were very similar to what Elevatus used. And so Team Dynamics was contacted and asked to remove those slides or to create new slides that would not infringe upon copyright. And they have agreed to change that.
I'll approve with recommendation that they let us know what that's going to be changed to be. I mean, having to take out slides, if that's the majority of the information that they were using, then this could change the whole dynamic of what they're using. So I have a little bit of reservation about that.
So Mary, do you want to make a recommendation with conditions?
Yes, I couldn't find the word, but
That's okay. That's all right.
recommendation with conditions that they let us know what their new program will look like. I mean, I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
it's
one slide or
that's
so many slides.
So you want clarity on
What they're going to have to change for their presentation.
you want specific information as to, let's just bring some context to what we're saying, right? You want specific information to be shared with exactly what's been changed in their presentation and in their curriculum. Is it a curriculum issue? Because if it's a couple of things, if it's just a few slides, we need to determine if it's just a few slides or if it's an entire curriculum. That's your concern, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the conditions are, we need to be clear on, is it the entire curriculum that's being changed, or is it just sections of it? You need clarity on what the curriculum will be. Correct, Mary? Am I understanding? Am I stating that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Recommendation, acknowledge and accept it. Recommendation with conditions. Okay. Mary, one last question. Do you want a timeline on when you need this information? Do you want to recommend that, or because we are on a serious crunch deadline? So is there a specific time you're asking for this information to be shared with the DD Council?
Yeah, I
Executive
think that
committee?
they need to be very responsive. If we've just gotten this information that something's going to have to change in their program, then I think they need to revise what their
You need to let us know what the
as soon-
changes, specific
Right.
changes were, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
we need
as
to
soon
know
as
what the
possible.
specific changes were to them. Thank you,
Right.
Mary. All right, just wanted to make sure we had that clear. Okay, moving to emergency preparedness training. I, Hyacinth McKee, recommend Niagara University without conditions. Mike,
Same.
Mary,
I agree.
Stephen.
Same.
Disaster Response Coordination. I, Hyacinth McKee, recommend Trach Mamas of Louisiana without condition. Mike,
Same.
Mary,
Same.
Stephen.
Same.
Emergency Response Resources. I, Hyacinth McKee, recommend Trach Mamas of Louisiana without condition. Mike,
Same.
Stephen,
Same.
Mary.
Same.
Okay, supported decision-making training. I, Hyacinth McKee, recommend ARC of Louisiana without condition. Mike,
Same.
Mary,
Agree.
Stephen.
Same.
Okay. I think that's all of them, Courtney, correct?
Yes, ma'am, and I believe we can probably have an answer to the team dynamics issue on Monday.
Great. That will definitely, that's great. And we need to have, and can we put a time on that, Monday by 12 noon? I think that's fair.
Absolutely.
Okay, so where we are now, these are the final recommendations for the proposals for this year. Courtney, we will begin to move into notifying these agencies, organizations of what was determined today. At this time, I am going to turn it over to you if you want to make any comments or make any information aware to the executive committee members.
Thank you all for all of the work that you've had to put into for reviewing all of these proposals. I realize it was an overwhelming response, but it's probably a good problem to have. Again, we will address the issue with team dynamics and have a response by noon on Monday. How would you like for me to notify you? You want me to just send you an email, or what would be the best way to, I don't know that we need to reconvene the executive committee, but so just email would be a best, let you know. Okay.
Mary, are you okay with an email to us? Because
I
it was
think-
your,
Yes, I think so.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we will need I'm assuming we need a motion to ask the following individuals to contract with us for the associated activities? Or is it just an agreement?
Mike has a comment. Yes, Mike.
We're making a recommendation to the full council for these, correct?
No, sir, this is, you guys have the authority to select these contractors so that we can begin that process immediately.
Okay, thank you.
Great question, Mike. Thank you. Contracts need to go out as soon as possible. I believe October 1st, correct, Courtney?
Correct.
Yeah, and so we will not have a council meeting, full council meeting prior to October 1st. So we do have the authority as an executive committee to move forward with notifying the organizations and agencies about the contracts, about the meetings, okay? So we do need a motion from the floor to notify the individuals, entities that have been selected to enter into contractual agreements. Who wants to make that motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we notify these selected individual organizations that I'm sorry, I'm at a loss. Let me review.
That's okay, Mike. It's Saturday. All right, we'll take your time. Let's try you on it.
I'd like to make a motion that we notify the selected organizations to prepare to enter into contractual obligation to complete the SOPs.
There's a motion on the floor made by Mike. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor made by Mike. Stephen made a second. Any objections? Any abstentions? But we're hearing none, motion carried. And so now we will entertain any public comment in the chat box. Some of these looks like that they've been answered, so. Okay, I see you, Dr. McCall. Saying that right, Dr. Mike? Okay, yours was addressed. Okay, I see you, Bambi. Hi, Bambi. Your comment was addressed. Okay, Ms. Kahanda, I see your comment. I don't know if this one was addressed. Okay, okay, yes, Ms. Kahanda, very good comment. Thanks for that. Well, I'm not sure if we'll be making changes once the contract has been awarded, but I do believe that when these SOPs go out, it is important for us to reiterate the need to request more diverse applications or diverse applicants in the process. I definitely hear your concerns. As you have noticed, there were SOPs that's been out for a while. And in some of our categories, we only received one response to the SOP. And so with that, that is something that we will continue to advocate and push for to make sure that we can get those more diverse applications in for contracts. And we will continue to try to do a better job of doing that. But again, it's been out for a while and we haven't received, those are the only responses we received. Okay, so the next one, how did ABD council promote? Okay, same thing. Absolutely, and there are different, like Hudson Initiative, that's a good way. Ms. Kahanda, individuals who are part of the Hudson Initiative is a good way. And so I appreciate you sharing that information. And we will continue to do as much as we can to get a more diverse, the diverse set of applicants. All right, Dr. Micah. Trained and okay. All right, so it looks like Mary has already, our executive committee member has already expressed our concerns regarding that comment. And so again, we will be waiting for a response from Team Dynamics. We're expecting to get it by 12 noon on Monday, September 21st. And then we as an executive committee will make any decisions moving forward based on the response that's needed by 12 noon. Thank you for that. Ms. Bergeron, thank you for your comment. We are following Robert's Rule of Order, and therefore we are entertaining public comments after we make our motions. Thank you. All right, and thank you, Bambi. We are doing that as well. We took the public comment after the vote, yes. All right, so it looks like all of the comments have been addressed in the chat. Okay, thank you. All right, and so now without any further comments, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I make the motion to adjourn.
Motion on the floor to adjourn. Anybody second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mike second the motion.
Apologies to Stephen.
Any abstentions, any objections? Hearing none. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Take care.
Stephen, I heard you. I've got you down for seconding the motion.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. Thanks.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.